All right. If anyone's online, give me a sound check. Papa, can you hear me? That's my sound check voice. Papa, can you hear me? Does anyone hear me? All right, I'm going to have to sound check myself since no one's listening. Available right now. All right. Let me see. Sound check. Papa, can you hear me? All right, I can hear myself. All right. Some of you motherfuckers got a comment tonight, or at least comment so I can at least talk about it. I don't know why. I don't even know if my comments are working, like, or coming up when I'm on my screen. So if anybody's listening, I'm not seeing the comments. I'm using this restream. It's supposed to show my comments, but I don't know. I'm just test it out. See if I do this. Still not sure about this restream yet because the quality didn't look good on YouTube, and it's supposed to be 1080. And I know my camera's putting out 1080, so see, we're just gonna pin this up top, and we'll go to my other page and pin that to the top. Then we'll probably get started. Where are you? Oh, you've been on my personal page. You dog. You dirty dog. My personal page. I didn't think you posted there. All right. No comments on that one, which is interesting. All right. We're just going to pin it to the top. I didn't think that was going to show up on my personal page, which is crazy. It should have went on my other page. I'll have to fix that. I don't like it on my personal page. I'm talking to myself, people. Oh, Zen. Zen.
Warning, we say the word fuck a lot.
Fuck.
So if that messes
I'm just
with
playing
your
it. Fuck.
sensibilities,
Fuck.
we don't give up.
Fuck.
This is Smashing.
I'm just playing around. So just chill.
Welcome to the party.
But fuck it. We'll go live. I don't know why that bumper sucks, but let's just fucking go live. We're just going to go live, people. I think that will make me live. All right. The cheesy music's over. All right, listen. Welcome. My name's Nate. This is Nightcaps, brought to you by Smashing the Party. Today, I'm going to jump into the social media storm that was created today from a post. And before I get into that, I'm not gonna hate on anybody. Look, I can be vitriolic, I can be nasty, I can come at people, but again, the whole point of this is to change hearts and minds. I don't want to push people away, so I'm gonna take it easy. I will not call out names, but I'm gonna talk about some of the content in this post on social media. It was on my private page. Listen, folks, if you're gonna have a really good argument with me, or you're gonna call me out on some dumb shit I post, please, for the love of everything that's holy, do it on Smashing the Party. My personal page, I can't monetize it. I can't spread the word. You can't even boost it. I'm not putting any money into Facebook, but just go to Smashing the Party and call me an asshole there, because there it actually helps me as opposed to you're just annoying me. If you want to annoy me, I guess if you want to annoy me, then continue to post on my personal page. But please go to Smashing the Party and let your fucking anger out there. That's the best place to do it because that's where I'm trying to grow the audience. But anyway, let's get into it. So, look, if this is your first time, you know I like to yell and scream at shit that bothers me, and sometimes I talk about politics, sometimes I don't. Mostly, though, everything has some kind of slant because the whole effort here is to change hearts and minds and make things better for everybody. This isn't bullshit. I truly believe that if we lift people up from the bottom, we can get everybody to thrive, not just the fucking people that have. I'd rather see people thrive, and if you don't know, my philosophical view is that this is your shot. And so if your shot is, digging through sewage in India, you basically got the fucking shit can end of the stick. And I think that sucks, and I don't believe that there's anything else. So that's your existence. What a horrible thing to do. So that's really the motivation behind all this. Not going to go into that. I'll jump right into it tonight. I'm hoping not to go too long. Look, last night I didn't get my karaoke. I am still on my detox from one of my favorite medications, and I can definitely feel a little edgy. But we're letting it go just because I think, as I reviewed some of my old videos, that frenetic energy was kind of invigorating. So we're going to jump into it. Before I get into the post, and I'm going to bring it up, it's going to be a little sloppy. I didn't do all the fancy shit yet because I'm still consumed with this camera, and I'm still learning things. And so excuses aside, we're here to talk about this post, and you're going to see this stream evolve, but it's a lot of work. Especially, I didn't realize how much work it was going to take, kind of shoehorning my old camera scenes and everything else into this new one. And it's just taking a lot more work, and it's fine, but it's just gonna, till you get the real whiz bang, it might be a little while, and the whiz bang is gonna kind of be a slow creep. You're gonna be like, oh, that's cool, or maybe that's stupid, but eventually this thing will be polished, and you'll get to see the end result and kind of see where I'm going with it. All right, enough of the fucking disclaimers. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna start off with the 3 points today. I'm gonna give you a little anecdote about why I feel that I have some credibility to talk about real estate and mortgage, and I'll get into why I'm talking about that. It's related to this post that I made, and then I'm going to talk about kind of the content of this post, and then I'm going to finish up talking about kind of my perspective on this whole notion of defending things that you don't understand or defending positions that actually hurt you. So we're going to wrap it with that. And then I'm going to give my gratitude. Listen, if you're watching, and I don't expect people to watch live for some reason. I think at the most I've ever had watching live was maybe 5 people. But if you are live, leave a comment. I'll come back and I'll try to read those comments. And also it's helpful because I want to test to make sure it's working. I'm using a new service to do this. It's supposed to be in 1080. Last night when I watched the video, it looked like shit. But I'm hoping that I can fix that. It may not be fixed today. But this is all new. So if you are interested in seeing me continue, whether you hate me or not, leave a comment. Just say hi or something. Somebody. I don't care. But it's supposed to go to all the platforms, and I have it so that if you comment on Twitch, it should come and send that comment to Facebook. I haven't seen it work because I haven't really been soliciting comments. So disclaimers aside, let's get into it. So there was a post. I'll just give you some context, and then I'll talk about my story and why I have a little bit of credibility. There was a post that I made, and of course I don't have it pulled up because you know how I roll. You guys, you know how I roll. There was a post that I made today that was a post that was advocating, changing the tax code that we have to make sure that it's fair, it's equitable, as well as take out some of the loopholes and everything else that are in it that billionaires take care of. So it was just a meme, and it came from a credible source, and I posted it, and I took my afternoon break, and when I came back, there were a bunch of folks, friends of mine, some folks that I met on Facebook, other people I know in real life, that made some comments on this post, and I'm kind of stalling until my computer gets loaded. All right. So, oh, wow, your comments are coming up. Resolution looks good on the end. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, cool. Thanks, Dennis. Thank you for that. I don't know why the comments aren't spreading to the other platform. Okay, there they are. They came up. I guess there's a little bit of delay. Anyway, all right, enough of that. So let me just see if I can pull up this post and maybe you guys can, at least I'll give you some background. I think it's on my personal page. Damn it, why? Oh, I don't want it on my personal page, but it is. So hang tight. You're going to get the spice and the spicy meatballs from me, I promise. Just let me find this post. I wasn't going to talk about this. I actually had a plan tonight to talk about some other content, but this kind of got me going. Where's the damn post? All right, come on, baby. Come on, daddy. Come on, daddy. Come on, daddy. Come on, load. Load for me, baby. All right, my computer, because I'm doing video, decides that Facebook is overwhelmingly taxing. So fucking Chrome is like loading for shit. Where are you? There we are. All right, finally loaded my page. Let's get this post up. Marilyn Monroe, I see her. Man, it's not even loaded. What the hell? It's time for the M1 chip, folks. This computer was bought in 2019, maxed out all the specs, but now that I'm streaming video, it's really costing me. So, all right, let's see if I can get this on the screen. I found the post. Let me see if I have something worked out where I can, let's just create a new scene. I'm just gonna do this live. So post, and I'm just gonna add this. This is probably gonna break my computer, but I don't give a shit. So we'll just go display. And sorry guys, again, all my scenes are screwed up, so it's just gonna take a little while and things are gonna be weird and yada, yada, yada. Let's see. All right. All right, so I don't have any porn up. Good, perfect. We'll see how this goes. Let me take a puff of my inhaler. All right. So this is the post, and of course, I take my nap, I wake up, and there's a bunch of people talking about it, and I appreciate it. By the way, everybody that engaged on that post, I appreciate the engagement, and I don't want to. Sometimes I can be kind of direct and to the point, and sometimes I may come across as being an asshole, which I am an asshole, but I think I'm a nice asshole. I'm tolerant, and I'm tolerable. So I just want to kind of back up and say no personal attacks are coming your way. However, I'd like to hear the arguments against it because it's hard to imagine anything. Yeah. All right. Agreed. So see, now I have my comments up. Now I'm like, all right, I'm going to hide my comments. Dennis, I see your comment. I appreciate it. You're the man. Pearl Jam rules. Clearly, I remember. All right. But anyway, so of course, this was, this always creates a kerfluffle because for some reason, folks that are in the upper echelon of middle class just feel like that billionaire status is this close, and so they feel threatened by anything that talks about taxes. Now, what I find most interesting about the folks that came in here, and I will give you my anecdote, is that a lot of folks that come on to this play tend to be from the real estate industry. And I have about 7 or 8 years in the real estate mortgage business, and I'll talk about that. That's going to be my first anecdote. So if you've watched this show before, you know how I feel about realtors. There is nothing that they can say that justifies taking 6% of your fucking house equity. Just nothing. There's nothing. There's no reason. The MLS is almost useless other than historical information, and you're able to see things that they won't post publicly that they feel give them some kind of barrier to entry and advantage. But the truth is, it takes about, 6 weeks to get your realtor license, and then these people are handling the largest transaction you will ever fucking do. Most of us will ever do. And so it's kind of bizarre, but once they start handling transactions, and after they start handling a lot, they become experts in just about everything that has to do with anything. And I've noticed this as a trend, and this typically happens with people that are wealthy. People will look at celebrities and ask them, their political opinions, or ask them some, to comment on something outside of their domain. This is a motherfucking actor, okay? This is fucking Kanye West, for Christ's sake. This is not some fucking academic. This is not someone I want to get economic policy from. This is just somebody. Now, if you want to go, get ripped off and buy a house through a realtor, which everybody's doing, trust me, everybody's doing it, then you go to a realtor. You don't go to a car salesman, you go to a realtor, and they have this cabal that essentially gives them a license, and they all have license, so they work together. But it's really just a fucking con. And I will tell you, I know this, and this is the reason why I'm starting off with an anecdote. I worked in the business. In fact, I worked for several companies. I'm ashamed to say, not ashamed because I was naive, but I was a subprime mortgage broker. So when you think about the collapse of 2008, I was on that front line. I actually resigned from that shortly before because my interest was panning in that, it was waning in that industry. And as I told you before, if I get bored with something and I'm not challenged, I start to say, fuck it. Plus, there was some political shit. I was young, and I didn't play my political cards correctly, and somebody else ended up kind of pushing me out. It was just a whole quagmire of shit. But I was kind of sought after as somebody who could come in, build a department, build a team, and I bounced around. I was getting signing bonuses just to move around. So in essence, I became an expert very quickly, and I also became an expert at setting up the logistics of the processing, the closing, all that kind of stuff that you deal. I didn't actually have a closing department, but I had to set up the whole processing pipeline to handle mortgages. And we did, I worked at several banks. I'm not going to say the banks, but I was kind of hopping around. I felt I felt like a badass because I was in demand, and I was commanding a pretty nice 6-figure income. Plus, I was getting cash bonuses where people were buying out my pipeline. It was crazy. So I wasn't at the top 1% of folks in the business, but I was doing fantastic. I was making good money. And what had happened to me, and this is kind of what's important, is I had dropped out of Drexel the first time because I was doing too much, and I burnt out, and I got bored. I was working for their what was called the duplex department, which was a subdivision of their AI department. I was also taking classes. I was doing a double major in math and computer science, just loading it on because I was thinking I was conquering the world. And of course, eventually I kind of faded and got bored and dropped out. And then I was essentially on my buddy's sofa for a little while, and a good friend of mine who I'm not in contact much lately because of political differences for whatever reason. Of course, he's wrong, I'm right. But he invited me, thankfully, to say, hey, look, you want to get in the mortgage business? I was like, I don't know, sure. He's like, well, it's going to be a lot of phone calls. I'm like, really? During my younger years, I was a phenomenal telemarketer. So I actually was selling insurance over the phone when I was 18 or 19, and I was getting paid top dollar. I think the place was called MMM. There's a bunch of friends on my friends list that worked there. It was a pretty cool place, a lot of young kids. And if you had your insurance license, you got extra. I think I was making like $22 an hour or something, like $18 to $22 an hour, which back then was pretty good. I was in my 20s, and I'm making this. All I'm doing is selling insurance over the phone. Total scam. Hello, my name is Nate Bomberger. I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin, CUNA Mutual in Madison, Wisconsin. How are you doing? I see that's your birthday today. Congratulations. Well, because it's your birthday, we have a special offer, blah, 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 the whole thing. I still remember the fucking script. And it was a place that refined it, and we had somebody that listened to your calls, and I would oftentimes get called in the office because they would say, well, that kind of sounded like a no. And I was like, well, we have to give up after 2 no's, and that was kind of a maybe. And so I was very, very pushy. I was good at it, and I ran that line of, we weren't allowed to be pushy, but I pushed it because I wanted to make the money, and you got bonused on how many contacts you made. And so I was kind of trained for this whole new opportunity of being in the mortgage business. When they said, hey, you're going to be selling mortgages over the phone, I'm like, I can sell anything over the phone. And in fact, I can sell any fucking thing over the phone. But so I go into this business, and after a short amount of time, some of the folks on this post actually worked with me, no names. But after a short amount of time, I rose to the top of that team, and eventually, against another more senior mortgage broker, ended up applying for a management role and got it. I know that still stings, buddy. I know it still stings, but I got it. And then I ran that place, and I fucking killed it. Until they wanted me to do some unethical things. And I said, fuck it, walked out on crutches right before Thanksgiving and quit. And that's when I started getting, recruited and bouncing around and kind of became somewhat of an expert in this small domain, this niche loan lending. And so, I did well, but I remember as things were kind of coming across my desk, I knew the crazy was happening because, it was like 540 credit score, day after bankruptcy, day after foreclosure, I can get you 100% financing. Sure, it's going to be a 14% second mortgage. It might be a 7% first. But anyway, I'm throwing this at you to overwhelm you, to let you know I'm not talking out of my ass here. I know that shit. When I was in it, some of the states that I worked in required that we get a license, but Pennsylvania was license free. Now you're required to have a license. But nonetheless, I'll fucking take that license tomorrow and fucking get it. My point is, it's not complicated. And that's the most complicated part of the transaction is the fucking financing. Now, realtors will go out and they will get a 6-week course, and then they will essentially do the front line, and there's some language, and there's some I'm not sure why the reason is, because I think they're trying to make it so there's no conflict, and it's kind of the one thing that the realtor lobby gave up is, if you're a realtor, you're not allowed or instructed to talk about financing to the person. You're only allowed to talk about the house. So the realtor can say, hey, you know what? Do you have a mortgage guy? Oh, you're talking about financing? You got to talk to your mortgage guy. So pretty much any issue that happens with the transaction, the real estate person doesn't really fucking handle. Your finance guys. They might have to make a phone call or fucking call them about the inspections and maybe make sure some dates are happening. But I'm telling you right now, and they don't want you to know this, there is nothing in their fucking job description or daily grind that warrants the money they make. In fact, one of the most difficult things that I struggled with during the time was that if a transaction was tight, a realtor would come to me and say, hey, do you mind knocking off some of the points or knocking off some of your fees on the loan? Of course, that was how we made the money. And I'm like, well, you're making fucking 3%. And in fact, you're double siding this thing. That means they're doing the listing they're listing the house and they're bringing the buyer. So they're getting two sides, which essentially they're getting 6% of the transaction and I'm getting 1.5. And they're calling me saying, hey, can you fucking give a little bit of commission to make this transaction come? And their commission structure is immutable, meaning it doesn't change for whatever reason, probably because they have a better lobby and they have a cabal of information that they make themselves to seem. I mean, I have people that buy houses that I tell them this. I'm like, don't fucking use a realtor. Use one of these new internet companies and go fucking do that shit. And they're like, well, it's my sister. And I'm like, tell your sister to get the fuck out of that business. The only reason it exists today is because they've done a very good job of creating this walled garden to make you believe that they're providing service when truly you can put your house on. If you're going to list your house, take some pictures and put it on fucking Facebook. You think I'm joking? Put it on fucking Facebook and tell me it won't sell. And you pay me $500. I'll fucking sell your house. I'll fucking put your ad together. I'll sell your house. I almost created a business out of this. In fact, I was working to try to disrupt this industry, made some bad decisions, didn't go my way. But that opportunity is still there, and you can see all these little folks trying this across the country, but they're running into this barrier to entry. So this whole backstory is important to help you understand. I'm not talking out of my ass when I talk about real estate. I'm not talking out of my ass when I talk about that industry or even the financing side. Most likely, I know more about that business than realtors because I did the financing side. And because of one of the last places I worked at was a place where they had mortgage and title and realtors inside in-house, I had to assess. I mean, there's many times where a realtor would come to me and say, I don't really know how to handle this situation. can you come in and help me with this? So I would go in to a realtor and help them get their contract signed or their buyer's agent agreement signed, which they have a piece of paper that they can have you sign that says, hey, you know what? Once you sign this, you can go out and buy a house and you can work with any realtor you want, but guess what? That realtor is going to have to call me and pay me. So there are realtors in this fucking town that's their livelihood. Look, let's just sign a buyer's agent agreement with me. Go out and find a house. And then when you go find that house, let's say you're like, man, this guy never called me back. And the realtor says, hey, did you sign any paperwork with any other realtors? They'll say, yeah, I signed with Joe Schmo here. Well, and the realtor instantly knows, well, I got to call Joe Schmo and let him know he's getting a portion of my commission. So you can all you need to do is sell it on the front end, get them to sign that fucking piece of paper, and now they can do whatever they want. You get them, lock them in for whatever amount of term, and now when they go out and find a house, whether they're working with a new realtor or you decide, you know what, I don't like them, it's not going to affect your transaction other than the realtor that you're working with is going to have to give them commission. So it's a short-circuited way to get paid and do absolutely nothing. That's one way you can kind of scam people in that industry. There are tons of others, and trust me, they have figured them all out. But the reason I come with so much hate towards their business is because the equity of your house is one of the things that middle-class and lower-class folks have an opportunity to grow some wealth. And that leads to my next point, which is houses appreciate, okay? And so when we're talking about something like this, tens of millions of class homeowners pay annual taxes, you always have folks from that industry come in because they're the fucking experts. They took 6 weeks and they've done some 1031 exchanges, which is a fancy word for some swapping around to get some tax deferment, depending on how you do the transaction. And so, but all of a sudden now, they don't do a lot of work and they're getting these big fat paychecks if they're worth if they're doing the minimum requirement for what I think is that job, there's no reason they shouldn't be making six figures. And I'm sorry if you're a realtor and you're not making six figures. You will if you want advice on how to fucking be successful in that business. I can fucking tell you. And everybody that fucking watches that's a realtor knows the fucking facts. And I will tell you, I can tell you how to be successful in that business. But I choose not to do it. I almost went in that business because I wanted to disrupt it. It pisses me off that the one opportunity that middle-class folks have to gain riches without doing unearned income, and they're just sitting there, their house is appreciating, is that house, and then a realtor swoops in and fucking takes their gains. Okay, so that's why I hate. Now, there were a bunch of folks that came in to defend the billionaires, and they all happen to be, except one, they happen to be from this industry. Now, I know you're watching. I don't hate you. I don't think you're a bad person, and I don't want to fuck up your business. And I know you like to ski in the winter, and I know you love that the prestige that comes with what you do. So I'm not hating on you in particular, but I'm attacking the ideas that they bring to the table, and I will always attack the process or the system that we have. Whether or not everybody's using it or not doesn't make it right. It doesn't necessarily make it legal. And so we have in America, and I don't know how it is internationally, but we have allowed realtors to continue to extract this much equity out of your house. For example, if you watch the home, any of the network shows that talk about the realtors out in California, these motherfuckers are styling. They've got the plastic face. They're doing it. Nothing wrong with plastic surgery, by the way. I love plastic surgery in many ways. I'm not being a pervert. I mean, I think it works. It's great. I love beauty and everything else. So great. I'm not hating on it. But they spend their money. They get all dolled up. They're pretty. It's because they sell one house and they get, let's say $1 million house, 6%. What is that? 10%, $600,000. So $60,000 is 10%. And then if you look at so we're talking about maybe $30,000, $40,000 on one transaction. And they're going to make it sound like they're doing all this marketing and shit, but come the fuck on. Maybe if you're doing a $25 million house, you've got to find that niche person. But the majority of the folks in that business aren't working in that area. And so they're not doing a whole lot for what they get. But for whatever reason, they continue to get these big fat paychecks. And we keep on going to them as if they have some fucking magical connection to the network that we don't have access to. That used to exist before the internet. The internet has totally fucked them. So I had to throw that in there because I will always continue. I will never, ever understand why when you start to realize kind of what you're doing or how it's affecting people, why you continue to defend it and come in here and act like you don't understand what's going on, when in truth, you've just said, you know what, this is good for me, so I'm happy with it. And that's part of the reason why I left the mortgage business. True story. I was bored, but also I kind of felt purpose. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm charging points on the back. I'm making money. I got high fives when I made, I went to this new company. I did a transaction, $600,000 transaction, made $20,000 on it. I was feeling good, but I mean, what the fuck? It's fucked up, right? So I was part of that whole fucked upness, so I can speak from experience. So I'm sorry, realtors, but your shit's bullshit. It's lame. It's only a matter of time before someone does something to disrupt it, and I hope it's soon because, quite frankly, I'm not really happy with all the equity you've been stealing from folks. And I have realtor friends, by the way, who want to do this, who are working on this, and I can't wait till it happens, and I hope that we can get to – there are companies out there like there's some companies in Jersey and Philadelphia, some companies I worked with actually, that are just doing flat fee transactions, and they have salaried realtors, and it's fucking awesome, and I love it. I think it's great. It's the way it should be. It's a service. They help you. They do the same shit. It's full service, but they don't charge you 6%. So anyway, it's archaic. It's fucking antiquated, and it needs to be crushed. So anytime one of those folks interacts with me, I know it's not good for my engagement to hate on them. I always have to just put that out there that, these folks are people that are working under the guise that they're providing some great service and making bank, and they're not doing a whole lot. So when I think of hard work, I don't think of realtors. I really don't. It's really not hard work at all. And it's why a lot of people get into it, but it's very lucrative, but it's also kind of stealing from the folks that need it. So that being said, I think I've said enough on that. Let's just kind of walk into, that was important for me to kind of lay out the context of where I'm going with this argument. I hope not to go too long tonight, but I will say, don't fuck with me on that shit. You're not going to fuck with me on that shit, and you're going to come at me with stupid arguments. You're going to make dumb comments, but you're going to look stupid because I know your business. I know it. There's no tricks to it. I mean, you're not a tax expert because you did 1031 exchanges, for Christ's sake. So anyway, of course, this post creates this fucking kerfluffle, and, I kind of get, when I woke up and I saw that, I was, took my afternoon nap, I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, people are really getting fired up on this. And so people are actually throwing some bombs they're throwing some fucking shit over the bow at me, and I'm like, damn, all right. And so I'm kind of, I'm like riching around, like, wait a second. Then I start second guessing myself and thinking, you know what? I reposted that. I didn't do any fact checking. It came from a credible source. So maybe there's some incorrect information there. So, I made my initial kind of argument to hold my ground, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not a fucking tax expert. I know what annualized taxes are, and I understand the point of, real estate isn't annualized because we don't assess real estate every year. If you, and I'll just give you kind of an example. If you were to look at the tax assessment for your property, if you own a property, you're going to notice it's a lot less than the appraised value. And that's an advantage for the homeowner. It's not an advantage for the community or local government that's trying to collect taxes. Again, this whole tax theft thing came up as well. But the reason for that is because every time they want to do a tax assessment, everybody knows their taxes are going to go up. Of course, no one wants their taxes to go up. And so you have this constant, here's the assessed value, the tax assessed value, and here's the appraised value, especially when you have a boon like we just did, where appraised value is going really high, and of course the county's taking a while, and they're a little bit nervous about saying, hey, look, we're going to do an assessment here, and then the assessors come in, and of course now your taxes go through the roof. It's not fun for people on fixed income. It's not necessarily a good thing. And I don't have a solution that I'm going to talk about right now for how to actually collect proper revenues on property, and I'm not even here to make that argument. What I'm here to talk about, though, is that my trepidation with this was natural. I think it was healthy. I'm like, you know what? I need to second guess myself. So I reach out to people that fucking know shit. I don't know shit. I know a lot of shit. I'm smart, I think, sometimes. Maybe I'm above average. I can process information. I read really fast when I do. And so that gives me an advantage sometimes. But truly, I struggle with putting thoughts together. My brain races. And so sometimes things might not come out so cohesively. And quite frankly, I actually am intimidated when I meet somebody who speaks eloquently and writes really well. And I'm just like, wow, I wish I could aspire to be that way. And so I have this imposter syndrome that quickly takes over. It's like, oh yeah. So I kind of went back in my little bunker and I was like, all right, let me reach out to some folks and see what the fuck is wrong with this post. And so had an interesting back and forth with several folks. And then I realized, you know what, the post isn't incorrect. It's ambiguous. And then folks that are coming in arguing against it are continuing to pile on the ambiguity of the post. And so that's kind of when I kind of step back and say, all right, I'm just going to let other people that know more than me, and I won't regurgitate the arguments. And I specifically said, is this post incorrect? Do I need to remove this post? And the answer was, it's not incorrect. It's just ambiguous and it's not specific. And when it comes to the tax code, you have to be specific because the tax code is pretty clear on any gains should be taxed. The loopholes come from the fact that billionaires pay, lobby, do whatever to get the tax code and inject loopholes. So the loopholes are by design and they're after the fact. If you get back to the tax code how it should be, those loopholes wouldn't exist. That's how I understood it from somebody who is a tax expert. So meanwhile, you have folks coming in making these arguments to defend billionaires and suggesting that, you know what, gains from stocks aren't the same as gains from whatever. Here's my argument. Here's what I know. Realtors that have all these notions of unrealized gains are the same folks that come in and take your unrealized gains or your equity out of your house without a fucking, and they'll justify their work effort by saying they're doing marketing. Trust me, I worked with one of the top realtors we intimately understood his whole pipeline, learned his whole business, and trust me, they're not fucking spending fucking money, tons of money advertising your house. That's a horseshit line. It's a bullshit line. And it's all bullshit. It's a con, but we've allowed it because everyone needs a house and they've got a strong lobby and they continue to enrich themselves. And so they continue to fund this lobby. And so they become this kind of unstoppable force of bullshit that we have to deal with. And it's a systemic problem. But my beef today was that the same folks coming in here and defending the billionaires and kind of throwing out these terms of annualized gains and gains from stocks are different than gains from this, or income's different than that. And hey, by the way, did you know federal taxes are 46? Who's paying the 46%? And throwing all these numbers at me as if to fucking say, look, I know these things. I bet you didn't. And I'm sitting on a pedestal and I'm thinking, okay, first of all, I know most of the fuckers that were fucking posting, and they're kind people. I party, drink with them, all that stuff, fun stuff, good people. You are good people. I don't think you have bad intentions. I do feel like, just like me, when I went into the subprime mortgage business and I was taught by a respectable and probably phenomenal salesperson how to sell subprime mortgages, I was told enough information to make it seem that I was doing a good thing and everything that I was doing was on the up and up. It was legal after all. And so everything I was doing, it just made sense. And here I am sleeping on the sofa, dropping out of college the first time. By the way, I only dropped out once, but I dropped out and I was like, what the fuck do I do? I have this opportunity. It weaves some of my phone skills into the play. And hey, this guy, I trust him. And he didn't have any malintent either, but he said, here's the reasons why this is good. And there were some good things about subprime. There are some people that hate everything about it, but this really caught my attention. Hey, you know what? People that don't have the opportunity to do this, that may have gone through some financial struggle or some health issue and now have fucked up their credit, this is an opportunity to help those folks. Boom. You know that shit pulled my arse. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. I'm fucking doing shit. I'm doing some shit. I got purpose. I'm going to make money doing it. This is great. I'm helping people. Well, it turned out, I started out doing refinance and everything else, and there was a lot of people were using their house like ATM. I'd have repeat customers refinance every 6 months, paying off prepayment penalties, and I started to realize very quickly that this is kind of fucked up. How long is this going to go? I mean, it's great. I'm helping them. They love me because I'm getting cash for them every 6 months. They just blew $40,000 on this. Their house appreciated $100,000 in fucking 6 months because they live in Florida and some shit's going down. And now all of a sudden they're coming back to me again. And I'm happy to do a mortgage from them. They're happy as shit, so they're going to pay me 3 points on the back, 3 on the front, whatever my maxed fucking yield was on the fucking loan, and everything's good. And so I was indoctrinated to think this was all good. And as I start to realize systemically how fucked up it was and how they were tranching it in Wall Street, how Wall Street was kind of putting these things, deriving and securitizing these defaulting loans and putting them together with these other A-paper loans and packaging them and selling them. And it was just like everyone's trying to get a piece of this before it crumbled. And eventually it crumbled. And that's when we started to realize that it was problematic because people had 2-year prepayment penalties after they couldn't pay off that. Maybe they refinanced twice. And now all of a sudden that 2-year amortized loan or 2-year ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, is now coming to full term, and the market's changed, and now they're fucked. And so that a lot of that happened too. And so, there was some fallout, and I know there were a couple times where there were folks reaching out to me to find out like how liable I was for certain transactions. I didn't even recall them. So there's your opposition research, by the way. Find those transactions that I did. Never committed fraud, but find those transactions that have my name on them that were weird. And sure, you can say, hey, Nate, you did this. Yep, I did it. I fucking had no idea what the fuck I was doing or knew anything about it, but I did it. So you're probably thinking, what the fuck, dude? I don't really care about your fucking history of doing mortgages and how you were scammed into scamming people. And how you justified it. But it's important, again, because I will tell you this same thing happens across the board. It happens with my MBA friends who think and suggest that because they own 2 businesses, they're sitting on a pile of wealth some of that was inherited. They have their privilege. They also have the opportunity that some folks made. And they insist that the system works perfectly for them because it's worked for them, and so it's fine. And so you have this same kind of Dunning-Kruger thing where it's like, I have a little information, but everything's fine. It's not affecting me. That negative stuff is people, they're not just doing it right or they're not working hard enough. So it's this whole ethos that they bring to the table. And I've seen it. One of the individuals that was on this post was actually on my show. And I'm sorry, buddy, but you made a statement. I listened to it before I got on. One of the things that he said was, we were talking about how to pull people out of poverty. And his argument was, hey, it's financial education. I said, what about people? How is that going to fix people that are struggling now or 5 years from now? You got to educate somebody and to change the whole system, and now we're all fucking financial experts. How does that help people out of poverty? Well, you know what? His response was, well, he didn't have a response, but it's like, well, there's going to be some fallout, was essentially what he said. So there's no solution. It's just like, throw this solution at it. It makes sense for me. If only I was taught how to write, how to balance a checkbook and how to fucking buy a mortgage and how to do tax deferment and how to do a 1031 exchange. If only I knew that shit, man, I'd be so further ahead. It's such a naive, fucking limited scope worldview that it's kind of disheartening because this same person's out there handling transactions for people and helping people build wealth in many cases. Not everything that they do is bad. Not everything a realtor does is bad, but they're just overpaid. And when they're overpaid, they get this attitude that they know things they don't. And so today, when I reached out to my expert, one of the experts and somebody else I know loosely, there was some engagement on that post. And I don't want to name, you can go to the post, and I don't think I'm getting anybody in trouble. But it was an interesting back and forth because you had, several folks on there suggesting that, I didn't know what I was talking about. And you also had folks that were kind of re-educating me on the difference between earned income. And then you had some folks saying, I'm pro closed loopholes, but, this is where, what we really should do is just remove the middle class, any taxes that we have on the middle class. And so you have these convoluted arguments that suggest that, they're doing things right and the system's fine. They're defending the status quo, or they're saying, we need to change it so that nobody pays taxes. So here's the crux of where I get frustrated. There's no long-term thinking when somebody argues like this. They're not looking at the end game. They're saying, this is what I think, but they haven't thought how that works long-term. They haven't thought about the fact that what happens if we just say, taxes are theft. President, Johnson, the libertarian candidate, wins, and he's like, from now on, I say taxes are theft. And so now all of a sudden, everything that has the word tax is fucking a pariah, and we've got to remove them all. And so what happens then? Listen, you got your fucking man. Taxes are theft. There's no need for taxes anywhere, apparently. This is truly their argument. Taxes are theft. So now what's the end result of that? So we have no way to fund the military. We have no way to fund anything. There's just, it doesn't even, it's like, all right, you're gonna run my business. What's your first play? Well, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut revenues. Wait a second. what do you mean cut revenues for my business? And by the way, I make the argument that government should be thought of as business, but this is just play with me here. Hang with me. So, the first thing we're going to do when we take over your business, we're going to cut revenues. And I'm thinking, well, how the fuck are you going to make money? That's not important. What the important thing to do is shrink things down so we can make it manageable. So my billion-dollar company, the first thing they do is they say, we got to cut revenues because we got to shrink it down. Anything big and, there's too much bureaucracy there. I mean, I tried to get a coffee and I had to sign a piece of paper. And it's just, we need to get rid of all that bureaucracy. And so trim it down. Doesn't that sound insane? But these are the arguments. This is the long-term argument for when somebody says to you taxation's theft, they really are saying, look, I'm a libertarian fuckstick. I haven't thought long-term. I don't really know, but I've been indoctrinated to think this way. And so because I have my own business and I'm an independent contractor that makes, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year fucking extracting wealth from people, I feel that taxation's theft, and so therefore I really don't care long-term. I'm going to be fine. It's such a selfish, naive thing. And this is why we can't have people that think like this in government. There's an ethos in the Republican Party and in the Democrat Party that suggests that taxes are something that we have to avoid. Of course no one wants to fucking pay taxes. But you know what? The most taxed country in the world is, I think it's Denmark or fucking Norway, one of those countries. They're the happiest because they have services and they're not stressing about shit because they break a leg, their kid breaks a leg playing soccer. They don't have to worry about fucking paying their mortgage and shit. But this is so foreign to folks like this because they don't think long term. And so what's frustrating is to see people that, again, no slight to them personally or individually, other than this ethos of, I just don't really think long term about problems. I really think what works for me and what's worked for me. And that's pretty much the scope of their problem solving ability. So there was an entire thread of this on display. And it was so funny because this, some of the arguments being made were there was an expert and there was somebody that, wasn't an expert, and they were arguing, and the expert's just kind of like, I hope I'm not getting you in trouble, Mr. Expert, but I mean, in my inbox was, I had to stop. I can't do this anymore. This is why I stopped, blogging and doing my outlet, because quite frankly, they don't know what they don't know, and you're just kind of beating a dead horse. And so what my first instinct was when I saw this and I made an incorrect thing was to say, oops, I probably made a mistake. I need to reach out to somebody that knows more than me, because you know what? I know as much fucking shit as these realtors do about their whole fucking business. Look, I'm not saying that you don't know, the ins and outs of how a house works, but that's not part of the fucking, that's just a small piece of the whole transaction. You know fucking right that if I worked for your company, you'd fucking love it. I'd be your top fucking dog in a short amount of time as a realtor, and I have no fucking people, no other fucking responsibilities. Nate, get to the top of this food chain and see how fucking long it lasts. I guarantee I'm going to get to the top. And if you're looking at my last place of employment as fucking my track record, you're going to be disappointed, because that was when I didn't give a fuck anymore. But before that, I was the fucking man. I could fucking walk into any situation. And look, I don't normally blow my own horn, and I feel cringing saying it, but I have to kind of puff out my chest to let people know, look, you're not sitting on a fucking pedestal looking down on somebody. I understand your business, and what you're doing essentially is you're sitting on a pedestal looking down on folks that don't know any better, and you're spouting nonsense that you don't even know is true. And so I guess it was quintessential, Dunning-Kruger is the comment I made about how, you have a little bit of information, you've done a couple things, and now all of a sudden you know the tax code. One of the things I kind of got excited about, I loved it, is, and kind of was intimidating if I was on the other side of this argument, is when somebody says under section blah, blah, blah of the tax code, and then they talk about reading it, and you're continuing to make arguments again, and then the tax code is their livelihood. I stopped engaging in the thread because I'm like, I'm out of my league. I mean, I'm in his league. I'm in that guy's league. The guy that's advocating for billionaires, I understand all his points, but holy shit, I don't fucking know the tax code. What the fuck am I going to add to this conversation? So I just kind of sat there eating my popcorn watching. Why am I talking about this? Because this is why we can't have nice things. People get a little bit of information, and all of a sudden they're experts, and then they spout that nonsense on this beautiful thing we call the internet, which is, by the way, the best invention ever, the best and worst invention we ever came up with. But, and so I just wonder, like, these are folks that are moving into the upper echelon of society because they're, they've got their cabal. They're making tons of money. I know several of these folks make a significant amount of money, not billionaire status, but most of those folks that I have dealt with that are in the realtor business, they're millionaires. And, I know folks, I know a woman that's in that business, single woman. She was absolutely horrendous when I came into business. She put in the time, she's earned her place, and now she's got multiple houses. There's nothing special about this person. They just stuck with it. And if you stick with realtor in the by the way, if you all of this could be kind of glazing your eyes open. The realtor business is a lucrative business, and it doesn't mean that you can't get in and make money. I'm just saying it's fucked up, and I'm going to hate on it forever because it's robbery. But and I'm not hating on this woman that bought a house. I think it's great. Again, self-made person, but still, it's not impressive to me because I'm like, oh, you're a realtor? Oh, you got 5 houses? Okay. All right. I mean, it's not impressive. What impresses me is, that person that's run the massage therapy business or a salon or whatever, or, working for a developer doing this or doing that, and they're kind of trying to up and coming, and they're working within a system that's fair, and they make it. That's fucking impressive. It's not really impressive to work in a system when you have a huge advantage. And really, the people that don't make it in real estate are, it's just a system. You do the system every day. You know why I would fail at it? Because I get bored. It's so boring and it's so fucking unfulfilling, and you're stealing from folks. But if somebody said, Nate, look, you talked a lot of shit on your show. I wonder if you could be a realtor. Are you fucking kidding me? Fucking get the fuck out of my way. Give me a phone. Give me a phone book. Give me a fucking whatever. Don't give me a phone book. Give me a phone. Tell me what my area is, and fucking let me go at it. And I'll pretend there's a gun to my head, and no matter what, I will fucking kill it. And so, to me, that's not, there's no purpose to it. I'm going into a cabal where people steal equity from folks' homes. They steal people's unearned gains. And so, my larger point is this. The meme, I mean, it was like a circular firing squad. The meme said, stop defending billionaires. But as soon as we say that, people come in defending billionaires that aren't billionaires, that probably will never be billionaires. They aspire to be billionaires, but they're threatened by anything that might maybe come at their income. I don't understand, though. So when I didn't make $500,000 a year. I made half that. And I was like, all right, so does somebody want to raise my taxes? Because I'm okay with it, especially if it helps other people. Not because I'm a nice guy. I'm just like, I'm spending money on dumb shit. Like, I fucking got like gold earring chains because I'm like bored. I'm not suggesting that I was moral. It was right for me. I should have been giving more to charity, and I wasn't very philanthropic. I was kind of selfish. Granted, not hating on that because I suffer from wanting nice things. But the truth is, I was buying dumb shit. I was buying dumb shit, spending money on dumb shit, saving money. Paid off student, did some good shit. But like, I'm like, how can you honestly say that when you're making that level of income that you're like have all this tax avoidance weirdness? Like, what is the gain? Like, is it a bragging thing that you can do at the country club and say, hey, look, I avoided $500,000 of taxes this year? It's so weird. It's such a weird thing. And like, so I feel like these are the people that if you took all that stuff away, there's nothing there. Their whole identity rides on this thing. And so they're defending these people because they feel like potentially they could be one, but really they don't even understand what they're defending. They don't understand the tax code. They also are in this category of folks that are already kind of at an advantage for whatever reason. I'm not even going to pull race into it, but everybody that came into the fucking thing happened to be white. I'm not saying, look, you're fine. You're fine. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying anything about it, but I'm just saying all the people that came in and attacked the premise of this post just happened to be in a certain demographic, let's just say. And so we're not gonna, this is exactly, if I'm sitting at the top of the food chain, I'm a billionaire, this is exactly what I want. Whatever, confusion, whatever. And let's just say this. I'm sitting at the top of the food chain and I'm a billionaire and I have this unhealthy desire to not share, or I have this view that I did this myself or whatever, and that this is my money and any government coming along is stealing. that would be the type of billionaire I'm talking about. There are altruistic billionaires. There are folks, and you don't get to be a billionaire without being a little bit grindy and doing it off the backs of others. Let's just be honest. But there are altruistic billionaires. But I mean, to sit here and rely on their philanthropy is insane. That's a whole nother argument. But the other thing is, what the fuck do you need all that shit for? I mean, what does it do? Well, it's my prerogative. Again, here we are. You, me. And maybe you've never had the struggle. Maybe maybe you have had the struggle. And now that you're up there, you just are so fearful of never having the struggle again that you become one of these assholes that preach this nonsense, that the tax code is equitable and we should leave it this way. I'm all for closing loopholes, but not the loopholes that are going to basically help other people and not the loopholes that are going to affect me. If you're serious, are you willing to close loopholes that are going to essentially push you into paying more taxes? Most of these fucks will say no. No, of course not. No, it's coming at me. Well, I said yes, sure. Tax me. I'll pay $25,000 more a year in taxes. And I made, $250. So take another fucking 10% of my money. The fuck am I going to do with it, you fucks? I mean, it's so stupid. I see what you're doing on Facebook. I know you get to go skiing in the winter and shit, but the fuck is wrong with you, man? There's people fucking dying out here and fucking dying, having kids, in poverty. We have people that we're fighting over paying teachers fucking $50,000 a year, making them do their own supplies. But God forbid you pay some more taxes. And then the most fucked up part is you come into a fucking feed like this and you'll say, you know what? I'm going to defend the billionaire. The fuck? You can't even follow instructions. Stop defending billionaires. Start taxing them. That's not you. You're not a billionaire, you fuck. Come on, guys. And I love you. Look, we're going to drink beers sometime. Hopefully you'll forgive me for being so direct. But, I mean, it's really pathetic to suggest that you're a billionaire or you're even going to become a billionaire. Maybe that's your aspiration, and I wonder, is it little dick syndrome? What is it? What's going on? We've all had our struggles, but what the fuck's going on, man? I mean, what the fuck? You're doing great. What do you need more for? Of course you got to have that gumption, the hustle, got to hustle and all this shit, the hustle mentality. I'm not hating on all that stuff. It's good. Look, I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. He's always talking about kindness. He's not necessarily talking about the hustle. He's talking about kindness. I'm a big fan of kindness, but I'm not this is where I disagree vehemently with him. I'm not going to be fucking kind to my bully, Gary. I'm not going to continue to be bullied by and use kindness when they don't give a fuck about kindness. They don't respond to kindness. So I'm not going to be kind all the time. I know you're probably looking at this, Nate, you got to be kind. No, I'm not going to be kind all the time. They're not, the other side's, this is a war, a battle of ideas, and quite frankly, the poor people are losing. And it's because, treat them with kindness is this fucking effort. Oh, you know what? No. We need to call this stupidity out. And I can't think of anything more stupid than folks that aren't ever going to be in this demographic, defending this demographic, when this demographic is actually putting policy into place that's hurting them. And so it may not hurt you right now, and maybe you're making $700,000. Maybe you made $1 million last year. Fantastic. Congratulations. You didn't do it on your own because you needed other people to do it or extract it from. So the idea that you you now can't contribute back to society because you need 4 cars and 10 houses and you're fucking a single male, it does get under my skin. And look, I have nothing against the white single or the white male. My dad was a white male. My father that adopted me, who was a fucking saint. So I don't have anything against whiteness, or I do have a thing about folks that have privilege, whether it come through their race or whether it come through their economic position, and then punch down. Punching down is like the fucking worst thing you can do. The worst thing you do. And then gaslighting me and telling me that, I'm wrong on something that is completely, I thought I was wrong, but the experts suggest that I'm right. And actually, this meme is actually points to a larger problem that suggests that the only people that really understand the tax code are the folks that are writing it. And guess what? You're not writing tax code, buddy. I know you flipped 70, maybe 100 houses last year or whatever the fuck you did, maybe 200. Maybe your organization did 500 houses. Fantastic. Still not talking about you, buddy. Still not talking about you. You're not, but you come on here, and I'm saying, buddy, not talking to you specifically, but you you come on here and defending billionaires, and this is why we continue to have this. And so that then gets that whole kind of whatever fraud that lives in your brain that suggests that you've earned this and that you aren't going to contribute back to society. These are also the same folks that are, saying that, and by the way, I hate to say this, but most of those folks also voted for Donald Trump despite the fact that he was racist. So again, I have problems with that. I'm not going to call them out on that, but it does make me question pretty much everything and every judgment call that they make because they can't even see the true character of an individual that could potentially ruin the entire world. And so it makes me question kind of everything. I mean, I don't know if I want to do a transaction with these type of folks, and that's probably why I don't use realtors when I do my transactions, and I probably never will. But again, I've brought a lot of hate, and probably somebody may or may not feel personally attacked, and that's just their fucking problem, because quite frankly, this is a larger problem. The problem we have right now is we have people that have not being honest with themselves, and then we have continued poverty growth. We have continued equity gaps. We have, our school system's fucking in flames, and of course we have the liberals coming up with these alternative schools and saying, look, this is an alternative school, and we're totally for public education, but we've created our own school where we can send our folks. That person isn't, those are also folks that are misguided and don't even know what they're doing to fuck up the system. Sure, your little fucking school, your rock school is awesome and it's fucking great, and I wish I would have had that education growing up. And I know you don't want to risk throwing your kid into public domain, but for Christ's sake, take all your effort and all your fucking ideas and fucking join the school board and make it happen in the fucking public school system. Why the fuck are you going off and running your own? This is just kind of what happens. And so you see people that are looking out for themselves and their family, which isn't bad. Look, I get it. I'm trying to do the same thing for myself, and I want to survive. But if we stopped and really thought about where these policies lead and who they're for and who writes them, I think we could start to agree that there is really one consistent thing, is that there's always going to be the rich beating down the poor. It's in our fucking history books, for Christ's sake. Let them eat cake. Isn't that something somebody famous said? For Pete's sakes, my education's horrible, so I don't know. Some French person, let them eat cake or some shit. I mean, Christ almighty, it's not going away. And the reason is because the information that is put into the ethos, in fact, the rich actually came up with the whole taxes theft thing by coming up with the Tax Policy Institute that they then integrated into government and became one of the first think tanks in America that started to put this into the fucking into the stratosphere and into our eyes and ears. And so then all of a sudden now middle class and poor people are like, well, as long as I don't have to pay my taxes. I mean, that shit does trickle down. One thing that does trickle down is stupidity. We watched it trickle down through the Trump years. The tentacles of stupidity run deep. And they're fucking, it's an easy play. Just say something that emotes and gets people fired up and may not be true, but it's true enough and it makes sense logically. But you and I know that ain't the fucking real deal. You and I know that you ain't doing shit when you're doing a transaction. You know fucking, you're not doing 6% worth of work. You know it. Stop playing. You know it. Stop it. You know you're not fucking worth that. And I know all you realtors and your fucking Coldwell Bank. I know all you motherfuckers are gonna hate on me. I don't care. Bring it. But you know you're not doing something that's worth that. But you lie to yourself. You make yourself feel good about it, and then you spout nonsense that's actually affecting the folks that I'm coming to defend. That's when I don't really choose kindness. I say, fuck off, and maybe go get maybe some kind of, other than your continual education on credits that you're doing, that you wait till the last minute for real estate, maybe go out and read some books and learn about the history of this class warfare that I'm talking about. And maybe if you have any fucking kind of conscience, you'll understand why I'm calling shit out and why it's so offensive for people that aren't billionaires defending this policy, because it hurts the lower portion of our society. And I know you don't give a fuck about them. And maybe you are a philanthropist now because you've extracted so much wealth out of people that you can continue to do it. But my point is, that's just, you're kind of stepping into my world of, you know what, I don't like bullies. I don't like people punching down. Anybody that's defending billionaires obviously doesn't understand tax policy And when you don't understand something, you reach out to somebody who does. And then when you reach out to somebody who does and they invalidate what you're saying or validate it, then take that information and do the right thing with it. And so what I'm doing with the information that I've acquired is suggesting that you all can fuck off when you defend billionaires, because the policies that are the tax policy that you didn't read or I didn't read, but some nerds out there did, it's pretty bold. It's pretty clear that their original intent was to tax all gains, and the loopholes came from billionaires suggesting, well, this is an income, or this is federal, or this was gained through the appreciation of my stock or appreciation of my house. One interesting point that I thought was interesting when I was talking about with the tax folks, and I'm gonna have to pull this up on my phone because it's interesting. Let me just pull it up. And hold on. This was the most interesting thing I thought. All right. So what's interesting, I basically kind of prostrated myself because I was in the mortgage business. And so, people telling this stuff was legal. Home buyers definitely wanted it. I remember talking to folks who were blah, 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 blah. So we're talking about the 1031 exchange, which is essentially a way to get some tax relief by swapping properties. And one of the comments was the 1031 exchange is a perfect example of something in the tax code that's equally available to everyone. So it's not preferential. The problem with the tax code is it's written for preferential treatment of the wealthy. And you and I don't know this. Neither did anybody on this fucking list. I know I have. I think there's one or two people that may be billionaires on my list. I'm not going to say who, but I think there are. I think there might be a billionaire on my friends list. I don't know. Again, I don't want the fucking wrath of a billionaire, but I believe there is a billionaire in this county, or at least a couple, and I believe one of them is on my friends list. But 99.999% of the people on my friends list are not billionaires. And this 1031 exchange is not preferential, except nearly zero middle-class people can or need to ever take advantage of basically a lifetime or perpetual tax deferral. Rich people do these swaps all the time. And it's just worse than a tax deferral. Rich people take depreciation on commercial properties. This is something that Donald Trump did. This is something you probably do if you're in a real estate business, if you own commercial properties. They take depreciation on commercial properties. Now, doesn't it sound weird to take depreciation on commercial properties? When the fuck do commercial properties depreciate? When they're about ready to be condemned, but not when they're fucking in somebody's pipeline, in somebody's portfolio. Rarely does real estate depreciate, but yet there's something written in the tax code that allows these folks who own commercial properties, not something you and I might own, maybe some of my realtor friends who've swapped up until they got big and now they own several commercial properties or whatever. However you got it, fine, congratulations. But claiming depreciation on commercial properties is something that you and I don't do, and it actually doesn't happen. But billions of dollars of tax revenue are lost because they've written this into the code. So nearly all real estate appreciates in value. Every year, owners of trillions of dollars of commercial real estate take depreciation deductions on losses they will never realize. And once those properties are fully depreciated, they can do 1031 exchanges if they'd like to sell those properties and defer taxes forever. There's no middle-class tax equivalent to that. So these are kind of things which, again, are beyond the scope of my understanding. I don't have the patience or the desire to read the tax code. But when you start talking to people that are honest and understand it and are experts in their field, and you start to realize how fucked up shit is, it just enrages me more to see folks that, again, not knocking on your education level, but aren't educated on the expertise of taxes. Neither am I. And so that's why you saw me just kind of do the Homer Simpson trick and just back away into the bushes because I'm out of the scope. Now, if you want to talk about net neutrality or you want to talk about, software, how it's written or how it works, I'll fucking stand in the room. Of course, I'm not the top 1%. I didn't write an operating system like Linus Torvalds, but I can fucking hang and I can fucking make you spin use words that intimidate you and pitch things that make it sound like I'm really smart because this is my expertise. This was my expertise for years. It's the same kind of play that happens with the billionaires. They put a little bit of information out there and all of a sudden it's taxes are theft. And then the fucking wannabes fucking come out and defend it. And so they've got this nice little barrier to ever changing anything. That's why we can't have nice things. So I'm going to wrap. I don't know what time, how long did I go? Did I go long? All right, I went an hour. Damn, I wanted to go 45 minutes. That's all right. But I want to wrap by saying a couple kind things, because I am a fan of kindness. I'm just not a fan of stupidity and kind of promoting kindness to people that aren't fucking doing it back. You call me Fred Flintstone or whatever. Fuck you, Donald. That's probably the only name calling I'll say. But I don't do passive aggressive well, and I do appreciate the engagement though, Donald. But next time, do it on my other page. All right, Donald. So just want to kind of wrap up what my whole gist of tonight was, and that it's another event. I wanted to talk about voting rights and so forth, but this was too juicy. It's too core part of the problem of why we can't have nice things, because people are making fallacious arguments. They're talking about things they don't understand. They're repeating talking points they don't understand. And then we kind of have the rich have this nice little barrier of disinformation, confusion, and also the carrot that says, hey, maybe I'm one of them. And this whole thing packaged up creates a nice little shield against any kind of modification to our tax code, because, again, the troops will come out and defend all this dumb shit when they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So my last point is this. I'm going to continue to post things that are going to instigate people, and I appreciate it, and I love it, and I do appreciate the engagement, even though I'm a little bit nasty about it, because it's important that we hash these things out, and it's important. I'm going to call that shit out. I'm not a fucking wallflower that says, hey, this thing that's wrong or it's incorrect, and everyone says, shh, don't say anything. I'm the guy that's going to be like, nah, fuck that. It's fucked up. And I have proof with people that work with me that I'm just that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm not keen on keeping that secret. We're going to fucking have to let people know. So I'm not a team player when it comes to punching down on people. I'm just not going to join the team. Not part of me. Can't do it. Been on the bottom. Been on the fucking bottom. If you haven't heard my homeless story, someday you will. And maybe that'll be the thing that launches me into the stratosphere. But the truth is, I've been fucking at the bottom. Not to the point with other people. I had it good compared to other folks. I had family that was able to pull me out. I had privilege. I was fortunate. I'm not even comparing my homeless experience to what people are experiencing every day, but I do understand their plight, and I can easily step into their shoes and look up and say, the fuck are you talking about? Nothing's trickling down, motherfucker. Stop playing yourself. Stop defending this shit just because you have an opportunity and you've done well. And congratulations, but let's give back a little bit, and let's kind of look at this collectively and realistically. Have you ever thought about the end game for where, if we took every single idea that you have and we implement it, you got all your wish list? Did you ever think of what that looks like? You probably didn't. I know you didn't, because you would probably change your position. But I can tell you it's not really a dystopian novel. There's several of them written. In fact, 1984 is a perfect example. But it's truly like demoralizing, as one of the folks said in my email, to continue to have to argue these things with people that are so persistent, they know what they're talking about, that you kind of do give up. And I will say this, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to call stupid, a spade, whatever the fuck it is. And friend, foe, family, whatever, I'm not really here. Look, I got a wife. I'm good. I got 2 pugs. I don't need friends. I don't give a fuck. What I want to see is people thrive. What I want to see is I want to see people stop punching down. So if everyone in the world hates me, I'm fucking safe, man. I got fucking dope-ass fucking studio in my room. I can fucking continue yell and scream. So I'm probably not your guy that you want to fucking just come at with dumb shit, because I'm not going to fucking relent. Just like you're going to relent with your stupidity, I'm not going to relent. I'm going to keep going. And maybe I take a month off because I need to recharge, but I'm coming back. I'm not fucking done, man. I'm so tired of this shit. It's so obvious to me that we need change to our tax code. Everyone knows it. And then we get campaign promises about putting the tax code on a fucking index card and all this creative shit. Here we go. Here's my nightly nose run, which means I have to wind down. I don't know what the fuck it is, dude. I got to fucking talk to a doctor. I'm going to mute it. Look, man, if I ever get on fucking Netflix or have my own show or some shit, because people are like, dude, that guy's fire, I'm going to have to literally have a box of Kleenex under there once I start getting fired up, because my sinuses just start running. Anyway, big dreams. Stop playing. Fucking buy a shirt. Help me get there. But truth be told, this thing triggered me a little bit, and I kind of, I really want to do a good job of vetting the information that I post. I make mistakes. I'm totally flawed. I am an indignant asshole, and sometimes when I'm wrong, I'm probably not going to show it. But I will kind of fold when I'm out of my league or when I don't understand something, and I might possibly be wrong. That's like the scariest moment for me, because I maybe in this opportunity didn't vet this, and so now I'm putting out information that really makes me look stupid. To me, it's stupid. If I'm putting out information I know is false, I think that's wrong, and it's not doing you guys a good service, especially when I'm here espousing that, we need to come back to a credible government, a credible press, and also be more transparent about things. So I want to be transparent, and I'm happy to have heated arguments about this, and I'm happy. I really do want to say thank you to everybody, even the folks I called out by name. Thank you for engaging. Look, the only way we're going to change hearts and minds is to lay bare the false arguments that have put us in these places. So sometimes it's not going to be pretty, and sometimes I'm going to use language that may offend you. But the truth is, we're not going to get anywhere if we continue to fucking act like, the sky is, the sky's not falling when the fucking shit is actually crumbling, and we're seeing gaps in education. We're seeing our healthcare. We're seeing people that ignore science. We're seeing all this stupidity. I mean, I don't know if I can come up with a good quote, but I feel like the tentacles of stupidity are just like way more flexible and just reach way further than any kind of truth or any kind of logical position, because people will just kind of just like allow it to, meander and kind of tie it to their heart because it reaffirms what they believe. And so even though something might logically be false, this is the last thing. I'll just give you a quick example and I'll wrap, I promise. A good friend of mine who is a conservative, we were talking about how the voter fraud deal and how it's a big lie. And I pulled up a document and showed my buddy. I was like, hey, dude, look, here is the data on voter fraud. Here it is. It didn't matter because they still insisted that it was necessary that we pass these laws, despite the fact that I showed them evidence of the contrary. It was frustrating. It happens all the time. We need less of that. You need to sometimes step away from what you are thinking and say, you know what is the end game here? Is this something I'm spouting based on my educational background or my privilege, or maybe I got an MBA now and this is part of the schooling? And by the way, I'm going to come at people with MBAs. I'm going to come out with anybody in higher education that's coming out with dumb shit, because we can take the farmer example as a perfect way that propaganda infiltrates our academic, and this is by the way, conservatives, you love this shit. You're like all these liberal schools and shit. You're fucking like creating these private schools because you don't want your kids to be indoctrinated with the liberal agenda and shit. Well, I will say there's a corporate agenda that gets filtered. We know with the whole Purdue pharmaceutical case, they went around to all the academic medical facilities in this country and created this whole facade of pain management, negating years of knowledge that opioids were addicting. So, when somebody comes out from a fucking Harvard MBA and they're going to come at me with their dumbass fucking economics shit, I don't give a fuck if they've got fucking credentials at the ass. I'm going to look at the data, and I'm going to look at what's real and what's happened and not theories. And I'm going to go with that. I seriously don't give a fuck if the fucking person's got the credentials out the ass and everyone's fucking exalting them. If I look at the data, I'm the asshole that's going to go, yeah, you're bullshit and you're lying, and I don't know why you're lying and why are we propagating this bullshit. But you know what? It makes me second guess anybody that has an MBA, because that just doesn't make sense, and you could easily see the data doesn't support their fucking whole worldview. All right, listen. I told you I'd end on positive. I know I can be a little bit brash sometimes and direct, but there's no other fucking way to get your point across when you're screaming against this whole system that's built for the few at the top. And to have fucking soldiers defending the few at the top that aren't even close to the top, it's demoralizing, and I'm going to call it like I see it and say, fuck you, you're bullshit, and take your bullshit somewhere else. Go fucking read a book. Go think about some of the concepts that you're pitching. Go think about the end game for your libertarian views, or whatever the fuck you got, and come back and let's get serious, because we can all have everything we want if we actually wanted to do this together. But no, couple people say, you know what, I got to have it first. And it's a competition. The Joneses, look at the housewives and shit, man. Look at those fucking lives. They're fucking like, God, fucking, what the fuck, man? We're just so fucking far from actually caring about our fellow humans because we're so caught up in our own bullshit. I don't want to be on a fucking goddamn pulpit here. I probably shouldn't. I know all you church going people are like, damn, you'd be a fucking dope ass preacher. But my point is that, until we start really looking at things from the reality of it and the data of it and not what we hold dear in our hearts, abortion, healthcare, child poverty, child obesity, all these things that you might have views on. Look at the data. What works? We have it now. We're sitting here with all this technology that we can track pretty much everything. We could build sensors so that when you take your test, it could send to a database. So now we really have every single fucking person has COVID. Oh, my privacy. I get it. We could also fix that problem if we took another approach. There's all kinds of ways when people start thinking out of the box, thinking like an engineer. I'm not saying engineers are the best engineers do make mistakes. I made mistakes. Everyone that works with me knows I made tons of mistakes on my way to get that title of software architect. I failed miserably publicly several times, but I still fucking got that title. I still fucking earned my keep. And the reason was because I continued to look at things and say, all right, you know what? That fucking sucked that time. I don't think I ever repeated the same mistake. I really don't. Not when I was in software. I made tons of them because I had it. My trajectory was like this. And I kind of moved up the ladder pretty quickly. And so I failed miserably quickly in a short amount of time. So, but to me, that was just part of the process, just like it is today. Last week, I had no sound on several times. Look, I'm fucking going up here. I'm trying to get to this level. I'm going to fucking do it as fast as I can. I'm going to fail the whole time. That's just how I roll. That being said, I did a little chest puffing today, and I want to kind of back up and throw a little humility at you and say, today was one of those days where, I was just kind of reading a lot and resending some stuff on social media. And I've decided I'm not going to give Facebook any more money at all until I get this thing tight. But today, people were stepping up. Even this conversation, which I had problems with the premise of it and some of the content, people stepped up. They were sharing my posts. And I just want to say thank you. I mean, I know sometimes I'm going to say, if you're watching me, you've watched me before, I'm going to say shit's going to offend you. Whether you're left or right, I've got people on my timeline that go so far as to say that they don't even believe in my truth, my seek for justice, because I don't believe the same things they believe. And up until one point, we were all in agreement. So, it could be one thing I say. You're liberal, we're aligned, and then all of a sudden I'm saying I love bacon, and now you're flipping your shit, and you've now discounted everything I said. That happens. That's part of the process. So I'm going to piss off. You're going to be pissed off by something I say eventually. That's part of the game. That's part of the way I'm going to fucking get into your fucking skin and make you think differently than what you have been. So, but I want to say, like, the ability to do this and just the fact that people are still supporting me, even though I probably pissed you off at some point, I want to say thank you, because I feel like this is one of the first times in my life that I feel like this is something that where all the skills that I've had have culminated and can actually, I can actually do something and make a change. And, I say this, it isn't a bad thing, but, we went through our struggles dealing with not having a kid. But now that I don't have a kid, I feel like this is something that I can give back, and it can be something that can last, and it can be my legacy. I know it sounds corny, and you're probably like, dude, chill the fuck out. You're half shaven. You're problematic. I saw your dirty clock in the back. Your plants are all over the place. Where the fuck you going? Well, you guys somehow keep watching and keep fucking sharing my shit, and that is where I'm just coming to you humbly and saying thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm trying to stream with this new software that's Restream, and so the engagement's been low, and I'm not doing a great job of following the comments, but everything I'm doing is new, and you guys are still sticking with me, and I had a good day today. I looked at some of the engagement for my posts, and it looked almost as if I put like a couple $100 down on Facebook, and I paid nothing today, and I got a really good engagement, and I think I had a pretty good reach today. So I just want to say thank you. Those likes, those shares, when you like something on my page, the people on your friends list will see that you liked it, and they may come and visit. And that's just that's just an easy way for me to get reach. And maybe you don't agree with my views all the time. Maybe you totally disagree with every fucking thing I say. Maybe you're someone in my family, and you're like, dude, what the fuck? Well, guess what? I'm fucking happy doing this. I love it, and I want to continue to grow this, and I want to say thank you to all the folks that support me, even when I piss you off, and I would ask that you continue to do it. I'm still low on my numbers on YouTube, and I don't want to worry about that, but following and subscribing to the different platforms is super helpful. It's like a superpower that you get. You essentially enable me to grow my business, and I say business, but the business of growing this platform. I have no idea. I've never worked for a media company. I'm not trained in this. And I say that not to pull your heartstrings, but I say that because I'm determined to become really good at this. And I think if you'll continue to support me and get me over the hump, and follow my journey the next 5 years, I think it'll be something that we can be proud of. And I think that it will actually help you. And I promise you, I'm an advocate for those that need it. And I'm not here to necessarily create pain for people, but I am here to punch up and punch up at the folks that have the ability to make changes. And I'm always going to call out the motherfuckers that have privilege that punch down. So that's my scoop. Listen, I'm going to end tonight. I went long. I think I just can't go less than I can't do 45 minutes. I'm just going to keep going. I told you when I started this, I could go hours and hours and hours and hours. But I want to wrap and say thank you. And today, I kind of start out with my anecdote about my experience. Look, I was a subprime guy. It's one of many black spots in my history. Then I talked about kind of the post and how it triggered a lot of folks to do exactly the opposite of what I was asking, and that's a problem. And then I wrapped with some gratitude. So I'll be back tomorrow at 10:30, and then I do it Thursday, and then I have the weekend off. We're in the second week. I added a camera this week. It looks fancy dancy. I didn't get all my fancy dancy layouts and everything else added yet, but we're gonna go slow and stick with me, and we'll have fun doing it. So thanks. I'm gonna close. Peace. Oh wait. Are there comments that are good? Sorry, Dennis. I promise you do comments. Sounds good. All right. Resolution looks good on the end, and I thought the video from yesterday did as well. Good. I saw you post that. Would love your arguments against it, because it's hard to imagine anything that is not weak as fuck. Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree. I don't understand it. None of us. And by the way, without calling out Dennis, I don't want to call you out, but we know each other from going to school, and I know for a fact that I don't want to call you out, but I want to say, like, you have a great story. I know some of your story. I know you fucking hustled. I know you worked hard. And I know you are also the type of person that wants to protect what you've earned and protect your family. And I know where you came from. We had so much fun down there my first year at Drexel. And, I don't know if you remember when I dropped out, but I just want to say I always appreciate your contribution and your kind of engagement. In fact, that goes for everybody. There's a lot of folks that just lurk and never say a thing. I love their engagement too. But I just wanted to give Dennis a shout out since he actually made a comment when I made the request. So anyway, I'll be back at 10:30 tomorrow. And, if you want to join in on the fun, tune in at 10:30 on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. Peace.